Hollywood is in chaos, and the cracks are starting to show. George Clooney is facing intense backlash, losing roles and fans in the process, but now he's pulling Sylvester Stallone into the drama. So why is Clooney refusing to share the stage with Stallone, especially as Hollywood's financial collapse looms large? Is Stallone really the bigger man here? Or is there a deeper political divide at play? And what about the shocking moves from CNN and Robert De Niro? Stick around, this Hollywood clash is one you won't want to miss. Hollywood is facing a storm of its own making. The entire entertainment landscape is crumbling, and the reasons are becoming more obvious by the day. Actors, directors, writers, and producers are struggling under intense public scrutiny. Audiences, tired of misinformation and exaggerated narratives, have pushed back, and Hollywood wasn't prepared for it. One glaring issue that has plagued the industry is the habit of dragging political agendas into their professional lives. It's the kind of mistake that can alienate audiences and tarnish careers, yet it continues to happen. A prime example of this fallout can be seen in the ongoing backlash faced by George Clooney. For weeks now, he has been at the center of public criticism, and it's clear he isn't handling it well. Clooney's career is taking a major hit. Several projects once promising have now collapsed. One of the most high-profile casualties was the much-anticipated Ocean's 14, a continuation of the beloved Ocean's 11 franchise. As backlash against Clooney grew, the film fell apart, and his reputation has taken a significant blow. As the fallout continues to ripple through Hollywood, the resentment surrounding George Clooney is growing, but what's even more fascinating, and not in a good way for Sylvester Stallone, is how his name has become tangled in this mess. At first glance, it may seem like Stallone would be distant from Clooney's troubles, but as the story unfolds, their paths cross in a way that adds an unexpected twist to the drama. With Clooney and other major Hollywood figures like Julia Roberts currently under fire for their political stances and the subsequent backlash from the public, Hollywood finds itself in a precarious position. The financial losses, coupled with growing resentment from the audience, paint a bleak picture for the entertainment industry. The very thing that many stars have long avoided taking sides on political matters is now backfiring on them in full force. But the plot thickens when Sylvester Stallone becomes part of this larger picture. The situation takes a turn with a controversial plan from CNN, which sought to put together an exclusive program meant to promote unity in America. This was no ordinary talk show. The network envisioned a special where Stallone and Clooney would sit together on stage, engaging in a candid discussion about their political differences and personal careers. It was an attempt to bring together two iconic actors, whose careers and personalities couldn't be more different, in a bid to encourage dialogue across the political divide. The plan had been in the works for weeks, but tensions soon started to simmer behind the scenes. Stallone, eager to make amends and show maturity after his own backstage struggles with The View, where he was allegedly unceremoniously kicked off the show, had agreed to participate. He was prepared to be the bigger man, hoping to use the opportunity as a platform for reconciliation. But when it came time for Clooney to commit, things took an unexpected turn. Clooney reportedly flatly refused to join the special, turning down the offer 3 times. He made it clear to CNN producers that he would never sit down with someone who held opposing views, especially not on live television. Clooney believed that associating with Stallone, whose views clashed with his own, could damage his already fragile career. His refusal left both the producers and Stallone in a difficult position, ultimately causing the planned special to fall apart. It's an intriguing development highlighting just how deeply personal and professionally damaging Hollywood's political divide has become. While Stallone may have been looking for a chance to bridge the gap, Clooney's refusal reveals just how high the stakes have gotten, both for these actors and for the industry as a whole. As the drama behind the scenes continues to unfold, George Clooney makes his position even clearer, expressing his belief that the interview with Stallone would only tarnish his reputation. Clooney, apparently unwilling to associate himself with anyone who holds differing views, specifically cited Stallone's supposed support of sexism and misogyny as reasons why he couldn't be seen sharing a stage with him. Clooney's refusal was more than just a personal preference. It was framed as a protective measure for his own public image, which he felt would suffer from such an association. This, of course, only escalates the tension, particularly because the interview was pitched as a way to promote unity in the country. CNN, desperately trying to boost its falling ratings down more than 35% in recent weeks, saw this as a potential high-profile, controversial moment to draw in viewers. The idea was to put two major actors with differing political views in the same room, hoping their debate and discussion could stir interest and ideally revitalize their struggling ratings. But when Stallone got wind of Clooney's claims and demands, he reportedly took it personally. Despite his hurt, however, he chose not to retaliate in kind. Instead, Stallone took the high road, moving forward with his career in a more balanced, open-minded way. He decided to participate in other programs, some aligned with his political views and others that didn't share his opinions because, in Stallone's view, unity and respectful dialogue were more important than pushing one political agenda. Clooney, on the other hand, doubled down. In the final moments of his argument with CNN producers, he not only rejected the idea of associating with Stallone, but also labeled him an opportunist for voicing his political opinions publicly. According to Clooney, this was a step too far, further distancing himself from Stallone. Clooney's characterization of Stallone as an opportunist only intensified the divide between them, making it clear that the personal and professional rift was growing wider. Now, let's pause here for a moment. Clooney's comments accusing Stallone of opportunism, sexism, and misogyny certainly make headlines, but are they really all that shocking coming from him? If we're being honest, given the public personas both actors have built over the years, Clooney's words aren't all that surprising. He's long been outspoken on political matters, and his rhetoric about Stallone reflects a deepening divide between actors who feel they have to defend their personal brands at all costs. Clooney, clearly in defensive mode, seemed ready to cast blame on anyone who didn't share his exact views, adding fuel to the already intense debate. Then another twist: Robert De Niro entered the fray. Like Clooney, De Niro was firmly opposed to appearing on live television with Stallone. De Niro had been scheduled to join Stallone on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, a segment that had fans buzzing. But just like Clooney, De Niro pulled out, citing their starkly different political views as the reason he wouldn't share the stage with Stallone. It wasn't the live nature of the show that caused the problem after all. Late-night shows like Fallon's are pre-taped. It was the deep political divide that, at least in De Niro's mind, made any interaction with Stallone unthinkable. This reveals just how fractured not only the entertainment industry has become, but also the broader social and political landscape. The division runs deep, and it's clearly affecting how major figures in Hollywood are choosing to work or not work with one another. As the division plays out, Stallone, ever the pragmatist, continues to try bridging the gap. He's not playing a role or projecting an image. What you see with him is what you get. Stallone genuinely believes in unity and balance, even when it means sharing space with those who might not share his beliefs. Now, when you consider Clooney's stance, it becomes clear how disheartening his behavior is. To turn down an opportunity for unity, even when the stakes are high, especially given the backlash Clooney has been facing, seems like an opportunity missed. Instead of finding common ground, Clooney seemed intent on drawing a firm line between himself and Stallone, based solely on political ideology. It's a missed chance to engage in a larger conversation, one that might have shown audiences that it's possible to disagree without cutting each other off completely. And that's where the real frustration lies. You'd think that at the very least, Clooney, given the criticism he's been facing in recent weeks, would want to make an effort to repair some of the damage. Instead, his actions suggest that he's more focused on protecting his image rather than trying to mend any rifts or find common ground. Instead of seeing an opportunity for reconciliation, Clooney doubled down on his stance. Things didn't stop there, though. Clooney's decision to distance himself from Stallone went a step further when he pressured CNN producers to make sure Stallone's team was informed of his reasons for not participating. It was done swiftly, almost immediately, showing just how far Clooney was willing to go to ensure that Stallone and anyone else involved understood his position. This wasn't just a casual refusal, it was a deliberate move aimed at making sure his rejection of Stallone was clear and unmistakable. As of now, Stallone seems ready to move on, looking ahead to other opportunities that align more with his values and outlook. He's gearing up for appearances on platforms like Greg Gutfeld's show, Joe Rogan's podcast, and other programs that either share his perspective or are open to discussing opposing views. Stallone genuinely believed that the planned interview with Clooney could have been a chance to showcase how two major Hollywood figures, despite their starkly different political opinions, could come together and have a civil conversation. It could have been a moment of unity, a symbol that disagreements don't have to result in division. Unfortunately, that chance fell through, much like when Robert De Niro rejected the idea of appearing with him on TV. But again, is anyone really surprised by this? Clooney's refusal, following the same pattern as De Niro, shouldn't come as a shock. It's a reflection of the current state of affairs in Hollywood, where politics often eclipse the potential for genuine dialogue. Stallone, however, has maintained his stance. Despite the setbacks and disappointments from the likes of Clooney and De Niro, he seems unfazed. In fact, his determination to continue his career in a way that bridges gaps and shows there's room for all viewpoints without compromising his own beliefs speaks volumes about his character. That said, there is a bit of personal commentary here, and I have to say, while I admire Stallone, especially for his consistent authenticity, I'm not sure I understand why he'd want to associate with outlets like a BC or CNN. These networks, while undeniably influential, have their own agendas, and it seems like Stallone could be subjected to a lot of behind-the-scenes treatment that doesn't align with his values. It's admirable that he's trying to remain balanced and open to all sides, but personally, I'm not sure I'd be willing to keep engaging with programs that treat him with such disregard, but that's my perspective, and everyone's entitled to their own. Despite my personal view, Stallone has certainly made the right choice in how he's handling this situation. He's continuing to focus on his projects, whether it's promoting the family Stallone, pushing forward with Tulsa King, or preparing for future seasons. He's not letting the negativity or the setbacks define him. Instead, he's making strategic moves for his career's future. He wants to make sure his projects are seen and heard on platforms where he feels comfortable, like Joe Rogan's podcast, where he can engage with a wide range of listeners and make exclusive announcements about upcoming shows. Stallone's not just about playing it safe with the mainstream media. He's reaching audiences who value his perspective, no matter where they stand politically. He's putting himself out there, engaging with those who might disagree with him, and that's the kind of openness that makes him stand apart. Now, I'd love to hear what all of you think. What's your take on De Niro's stance on Stallone? What about Clooney's comments and refusal to associate with him? Do you think Stallone made the right call, or should he have pushed harder for that unifying interview with Clooney? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the content today, make sure to give it a thumbs up to support the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to Movie Saga and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on future videos. I'll catch you all in the next one.